Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on foundation level sample question discussions. We are getting into the next tutorial where we'll be stepping into the chapter 4, which is the most crucial part of this particular entire syllabus. As a part of chapter 4, we generally talk about the test techniques, which in turn let us know that there will be K3 level questions and you will be asked to apply these techniques in order to get the responses. So that's where it is really crucial to understand the techniques, which you can certainly get from the tutorials, but here we will help you how to tackle these technique-based questions. But just not alone techniques-based question, but also some theoretical-based questions can be asked to you from this chapter. So let's have a look through this tutorial that what type of questions can be asked from this particular chapter. Altogether, there will be 11 questions coming from this chapter alone, which is the highest contributor from all the 6 chapters to the overall examination scores. To get started, the very first question of the chapter 4 is question number 19. What is a checklist-based testing? Now again, if you remember from the tutorials which you would have covered in the chapter 4, checklist is basically is an item which consists the list of entities or questions which need to be verified while interacting with the product. Now you may be getting confused that we did have a checklist for the static testing and now we are talking about another checklist. So what's the major difference between them? The checklist which we used for static testing was again the same thing, but the questions were related to a work product or a static document. Whereas this checklist, when it comes to the test techniques, are related to dynamic testing and helps to answer the questions which are related to the product, not the work product. So the question here is giving you the definition in the terms of options. Let's look at the option A. It says the test technique in which the tests are derived based on the tester's knowledge of past faults or general knowledge of failures. B. A test technique based on an analysis of the specification of a component or the system. Now let's hold on here and look at these options. Now the option A is telling you that of course this is a test or a technique where the tests are derived based on the tester's knowledge of the past faults or general knowledge of the failures. Now, general knowledge of the failures is another one common option, and having a knowledge about the typicalness, and we generally do that as part of experience-based techniques. So checklist is one of the experience-based testing. That's where they're trying to trick you around. The knowledge about previous defects or knowledge about typical defects in a product is generally used for the error guessing, because until unless you don't know what are the typical defects which generally happen, error guessing cannot be implemented. So test cases are derived from the knowledge of typical defects is typically the error guessing technique. When you look at the B, a test technique based on an analysis of the specification of a component and system, these are more the formal techniques, not the experience-based technique. When you apply black box testing techniques, which are also called as specification-based techniques, a specification is referred in order to derive the outcome. And that's where this is not an option to be applied to checklist-based testing and cannot be right. Let's look at option C, an experience-based test technique, where the experienced tester uses a list of items to be noted, checked, or remembered, or a set of rules or criteria against which a product must be verified. Now that meets appropriately the exact definition of what exactly checklist-based testing is. It fulfills all the need of it. But let's have a look on the option D before we finalize on it. An approach to testing where the testers dynamically design and execute tests based on their knowledge, exploration of the test items, and the results of the previous test. Now the word exploration will give you the hint here that this is the definition for exploratory testing. Not just that, if you have read the syllabus carefully, you have heard the tutorials carefully, you would realize that exploratory testing is the only technique where we dynamically design the test cases and certainly refer the previous execution results as a basis to organize exploratory testing. So this is again not checklist based. So the final answer here is C, an experience-based test technique where the experienced tester uses the list of items to be noted, checked, or remembered, or a set of rules or criteria against which a product must be verified. Let's look at the next question. Here, the question number 20 says, which one of the following option is categorized as a black box test technique? Now, of course, you need to define the definition of what exactly black box testing is all about and how it is different from the other techniques. So option A says a technique based on analysis of the architecture. I think the architecture comes more on the white box side. So that's not specific to our black box techniques, because white box goes more on the code level or the architecture, which is the back end, whereas the black box is the front end, which is the UI. B, a technique checking that the test object is working according to the detailed design, which is again architecture. A detailed design goes onto the back end and has every single minute information that how the system actually works. C, a technique based on the knowledge of past faults or general knowledge of the failures, which is not black box. It is, of course, experience-based techniques where we have to have past experience, knowledge about the domain, and knowledge about the typical defects. So now we are left with only one option, but let's have a look on it. The option D, a technique based on formal requirements, of course, is the only basis which can help you to derive the black box test techniques or black box testing concepts, which are completely driven by the UI. So putting it all together, the right answer here is D. A technique based on formal requirements can be categorized under black box testing techniques, whereas the white box are at the code level or the back end, and the experience are completely dependent on your past experience. Let's look at the next one, which is coming in from the decision coverage is one of the techniques. As I told you earlier, from new syllabus, that is 2018 onwards, the syllabus is no longer asking you a programming driven question. So it's all going to be K2 level. No K3 level questions will be asked to you. So just make sure that you know the theoretical concepts of white box testing techniques, and that would be enough. The following statement refers to a decision coverage. When the code contains only a single if statement and no loops or case statement, and its execution is not nested within the test, any single test case we run will result in 50% decision coverage. Which one of the following statement is correct? Now, of course, the first of all, the thing concept which you need to recall from your learning is what exactly an if statement stands for. So the if statement generally has two outcomes, which is true or false. So a condition can be true, can be false, but you have a pseudocode, so you have a provision to define whether it has a case statements or loops possible in that, and whether it has any other if inside this or not. So if it is a single if, that means there are no other ifs inside this, and at the same time they're also saying you no loops or case statements. That means the cases, like possibilities of doing something, is not at all there, and its execution is not nested. So any single test case which you run will result into 50% coverage. Yes, of course, because when you talk about an if, a single if, there are two outcomes, true and false. And if you're just running one particular test, you are either covering true or either covering false. So you always achieve only 50% coverage when you have one test to cover a single if statement. So let's have the look on the option now. We are asking which of the following statement is correct. Option A, the statement is true. Any single test case provides 100% statement coverage and therefore 50% decision coverage. Now, to be frank, there are no such clarifications or no such justifications that every time a single test will provide you always 100% statement and by default half the way decision coverage. No, it's rather the other way around, that 100% decision coverage guarantees 100% statement coverage, but not always the vice versa, or not at all vice versa. But sometimes it is possible that you may have 100% statement coverage giving you 100% decision coverage also. But here the case is completely different. They're saying that 100% statement coverage is achieved and 50% decision coverage is achieved. No, that's not true. Look at B. The statement is true. Any single test case would cause the outcome of if statement to be either true or false, right? So that was what we were just discussing. So seems to be the best option for us. But let's confirm with C and D. C starts with the statement is false. No, the statement is true. So I don't really have to look into the justification, which can sometimes confuse you and make you think over the other options again. So no, just be sure first whether your statement is true or not, and then pick the right justification. So we can very well excuse C and D both right from the first part of it, saying that statement is false. So the right answer here is B. The statement is true. Any single test case would cause the outcome of if statement to be either true or false, which in turn covers only 50% of the coverage. So keeping it short and simple here, that's all from this particular tutorial team. We have many other questions to be spoken from the chapter 4 with details and explanation. So stay tuned for that. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below, and I'll be always there to respond to your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video team, and happy learning.